You're listening to The Straight Line on MRN.com, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day. And also brought to you by Hercules Tires. Ride on our strength.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. I'm Ralph Sheehan alongside of Doug Herbert, and we're going to get right into it today. We got a lot to talk about, so we're going to go right to our guest line and kick things off with a guy who's won, was it 14 national championships?
14 champions. Yeah, I think he knows a thing or two about winning.
Yeah, and that, of course, is the legend himself, Terry Vance. Terry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ralph. Nice to hear your voice.
Well, thanks, buddy. It's great to have you on. We've got a lot to chat with you about today, and a big part of that is what's coming up this weekend at the Gatornationals. Is we're going to bring some legends together, and you guys are going to take care of some unfinished business. But with 14 championships, I don't know how much is left to be finished for you.
Yeah, I don't know, but first I got the AFT Daytona TT on Thursday night, so I'm going to be busy this weekend for sure.
That's right. For those that might not know, AFT is American Flat Track. And, of course, Terry with the Vance and Hines team, heavily involved on the Harley-Davidson side of that. Tell us a little bit real quick about that, just so we bring everybody up to speed on it.
Well, obviously Thursday night's a kickoff race of the season, and it happens at Daytona, and they do it actually right on the start-finish line. The track is half dirt, half asphalt. So this is the first year they've ever done that. It's usually all dirt. So it should be very, very interesting with all of the bikes, getting to be on asphalt for a certain period of the track. So, all the manufacturers are involved. They're expecting a huge crowd. They've got a lot of great teams coming. It's a really competitive series, Ralph. It's really, really been a challenge for us to get the Harleys up to speed and get them to run up front. But we've been working all winter long, and I think we've got a pretty good package for Thursday. So we'll see what happens, and I'm really excited about getting there, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
Terry, your team's Vance and Hines races a lot of different type of racing. The Suzuki drag racing stuff, obviously the Harley-Davidson and the different Harley-Davidson stuff. What different sanctions and types of racing do you guys do besides drag racing and the flat track? Is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. To be honest, we do the AFT, which is American Flat Track. We do those bikes, which are 750cc displacement bikes that race on dirts, ovals, and then some TTs. And then we have a Top Fuel Harley-Davidson team that runs the Top Fuel program within the NHRA schedule. They have a 10-race series that they go to that Doug Vansel rides the bike. And those bikes go, low sixes, 615, 620 at 235 miles an hour. So they're really cool motorcycles. And then the Pro Stock drag racing team that Eddie Krawick, Andrew Hines, and now Angel Sempe is riding. And that event, as Ralph alluded to, starts this weekend on Friday.
Terry, you've been a part of so many different forms of motorcycle racing. There was a time when you guys are a big part of the AMA Superbike Championship as well. Is there anything left in motorcycle racing that maybe you've always wanted to take on, just haven't done yet?
Well, that's a good question, Ralph. I think flat track racing was kind of the last horizon for me. I wanted to get us involved, and it was kind of good timing for Harley-Davidson as well, because the XR 750 was kind of coming to the end of its life, and they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do going forward, and using a production bike, which is the platform that we're using. It's called a G. It's a XR 750G or XG 750R, and so the G is the replacement for the XR, so now it's an XG. And it's been really a challenge, Ralph, because we're using a standard production street bike, and we're trying to race against for race-only motorcycles, and it's been a bit of a challenge. But we've learned so much, and we're getting really close. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen this year. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to run up front.
Hey, Terry, tell us a little bit about this unfinished business thing down at Gainesville. You're up against Warren Johnson, and it's kind of some hype build up to it. NHRA's definitely built up a lot of hype. The question that we asked McCulloch last week was, have you rented a Toyota Camry to go out and do some testing with? I mean, knowing you, I would think that, you would need to do a little bit of testing. I'm pretty sure Warren Johnson's going to be doing something.
Well, what I'm afraid of is that, I've got Twitter reports that Warren Johnson had the hood up on his car just yesterday down in Gainesville. So that means bad news for everybody, right? So, but really and truly, Doug, as you and I talked about when we were at the Winter Nationals, it's like it's a really nice thing that the NHRA has done to bringing out a bunch of old people and putting them in cars and letting them match up and race and creating a little excitement. So that's kind of cool. And then they wrap the cars, and like my car is the Vance and Hines Harley Davidson car, and obviously WJ's has his, and Shirley's has the Shirley kids. So it's a good program, and they've done a great job of actually getting people aware of what's coming. And there's a little rivalry of Snake and the guys are all giving each other a hard time, and McCulloch is giving each other a hard time, and it's been a lot of fun, to be honest with you. But for me, the thing that I worry the most about, Doug, is that I don't want to get beat with a hole shot, because if I get beat with a hole shot, it's just going to prove I'm an old man, and I don't want to prove that to anybody. So my goal is, Doug, I'm going to red light if I have to. I'm not going to be late. So, and then I didn't know who I was matched up against, and then I find out that the fans matched me up with WJ, with Warren Johnson, and I'm thinking, geez, out of all these guys, toughest guy on the tree, I got to race him first round. So if I get by the first round, I might have a shot, but I think I'm going to have a hard time getting by WJ, to be honest with you, Doug.
All right. Well, Terry, as you look back at your career, obviously the folks you're going to be racing with here in Unfinished Business are not the people that you race with on a regular basis. As you do look back on your career, tell us a little bit about maybe what your favorite rivalry was.
Oh, that's a good question. I think, drag racing wise, when Byron and I first started Vance and Hines, we had come out of a company called RC Engineering, and Russ Collins was the owner of the business. So when we first got going, I guess our rivalry with Russ was pretty, intense, because we were former employees and had started off on our own. So we wanted to win. He wanted to keep us from winning. So that was a pretty intense time for a while, because we were just kids at the time. I think when I started the business, I was only 24 years old, so I was pretty young. But over the years, when we did the AMA road racing, there was some really good stuff happening when I ran the Yamaha program. Obviously, you get in the fight with all the manufacturers, Honda, Suzuki, Ducati, everybody. It was really intense, because there's a lot riding on what you're doing, and you really have to be on your game as a team. So that was fun. And then, honestly, the most fun of us being involved with a sponsor was probably the Ducati days, because they were at a period when TPG had just taken them over, Texas Pacific Group, which was a private equity firm, and they didn't have any budget issues. They just did whatever they had to do to win, and it was really fun to work with the Italians and see what they were doing and learn from their expertise. It was really quite a learning experience. So I'm really happy we got the chance to be able to do it. So anyway, and then just now with the Harley Davidson thing and the flat track thing, Ralph, that's pretty intense. I mean, I'd really like to get us on the box with that bike, up on the top of the box, meaning winning. And it's been a big challenge for us to try to get that bike to be competitive. So that's going to be really, really happy for me if we can actually make that happen. And that's what we've been working hard on now for the last couple of years.
Well, Terry, if I know you and everybody at Vance and Hines, I'm pretty sure that you'll be on top of that box pretty soon. Hey, yeah, one of the top moments, Lewis Bloom does his top moments of every race, and one of his top moments was at the Winter Nationals when you pulled out $1 million donation checks to our brake charity, and just can't tell you how much that means, not only to me but to a lot of other people, and it's going to go a long ways in doing a lot of great things. And you brought your kids, and then you brought their whole baseball team. Tell us a little bit about that for the listeners.
Well, I mean, you guys are both so close to brakes, you get it. But if there's anybody listening, brakes is such an important thing for all the young kids that are getting into cars today. And when I attended the program with my twin sons, I was so impressed, Doug. I mean, first of all, I think I told the story at the Winter Nationals, but right after the death of your sons, I didn't even want to get near you, because I was afraid I would break out crying, and I just felt so bad for you, and I know how devastating that must be, But as some time went by and you healed, obviously, and you started to look around and think about doing good things, you got brakes going, and I was so impressed with the fact that you did that, Doug. I really was. And when I went to the class and I saw how professional it was and the people that were dedicated to it, and then I brought the baseball team back, and I was like, these kids really learn something. And my kids on the way home, after the first time, were talking about going back themselves. I thought, you know what, here's a place where I can make a little bit of a difference. And, for me in my life, I started my foundation, the Vance Family Foundation, for a reason. And your program was right up the alley. And I was involved in a couple of things at that time, so I couldn't do anything. So had to wait till this year to have enough money to actually make a significant deal for it. And as you and I talked prior to making the announcement, we wanted to, from our side, from the Vance side, is that Family Foundation side, we wanted to make sure that we did something significant enough to where people would go, wait a minute, this must be a really good program and really important. So that's why we tried to make the donation so large so that people would step up and go, whoa. And I think, Doug, you have to admit, of the reaction by the crowd at the Winter Nationals, everybody was definitely paying attention to what was going on. So I'm really happy to have done that. I'm really happy to be involved. And for you and Mimi both, Doug, I'm just so impressed with your effort and your passion and really and truly your attitude about what you're doing. And Breaks is just such a great thing.
Well, you're a winner, and just unbelievable how much difference that made, Terry. Thank you so much. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, no, and I know that, Doug, and I appreciate what you're saying, but really, it's just it's just money, and I know that's easy to say when you've got a little bit, but the bottom line is that the time and the effort that people put in of their time and putting all the work in without getting anything out of it, but just helping, that's really significant, and that's what I was so impressed with by the whole organization. So you should be really proud of what you've done, and just keep going, Doug. Keep working hard, keep influencing these young guys to make sure that they come home after wherever they're at on a Friday night or a Saturday night. We just don't want anything like that bad to happen again.
It was it's a remarkable program, and it was remarkable what you did, Terry. And it's amazing the reaction everybody in the drag racing community has had for what you did there. We can't thank you enough for it.
No,
Terry, you've won in so many different things, and I know I have no doubt. I know you got Sammy Halbert and Jared Vanderkoy riding for you again this year. You guys will put that XG up on the victory podium before too long. How do you, as you think about this, you're such a winner. Your programs have become such winners. How do you describe becoming a winner, if that's the right way to ask that? What do you look for?
Well, the first thing I do is I pick up the phone and call Byron. Whenever I've got some harebrained idea. When I did the first Harley Davidson contract for our drag racing program, I had to basically beg Byron to do it. Ralph, he didn't even want to do it, because he was just killing him with the Suzuki program, right? And I said, but Byron, our business is aligned with the V-Twin segment more and more every day, and we have to pay attention to this because, out of 10 people on the road, 8 of them are riding Harleys. So we can't ignore this, and if we want to grow. So finally, I talked him into it. And then once we got going and once things got happening, it was really, really, as you know, a very successful program. But people forget the first year, we didn't even qualify, Ralph, and we had never not qualified at a national event in 30 years of racing, right? So it was really painful. But I think if you use that program as a model, how we got to winning, we just kept at it. We kept working hard. We didn't take failure as the end of the road. We took that as an obstacle that we had to get around, and we just kept developing and working. And Byron is a very, as you guys both know, Byron Hines is a very talented, smart guy, and there isn't just about anything he can't do. And when I brought this flat track program to him, I said, Byron, I want to do the same thing with this flat track program that we did with the drag race program. And he was really, really excited about getting involved and getting going. And I have to tell you guys, Byron and I have been partners for almost 48 years or whatever it's been. Forever, most of our lives. And we've never gotten in a fight. We've never argued with each other, whatever. But this flat track thing's been hard, Ralph. Yeah. It's been really hard because there's a lot riding on it. The motor company needs it to happen. We need it. Vance Hines needs it to happen. So, we're getting a little testy with each other. And we even had to push in the clutch a couple times and say, hey, wait a minute. What's the big picture here? What are we trying to accomplish? What are we doing? And we're getting there, Ralph. I'm really, really, really happy about our progress and where we're at. But to answer your question, to build a winning program, you have to have people that are dedicated to the cause, like Byron, that aren't looking to make money or aren't looking to get praise, but they have an obstacle in front of them and they want to overcome it. And we have a really good, dedicated team of guys like that on our program. And I'm sure we're going to get where we need to go. But it really is about the people, Ralph. There's just no way around it.
Well, I guarantee you're going to get to where you need to go. You didn't win all the races and championships and business success from not doing that. So, Terry Vance, thanks for joining us today. We're looking forward to seeing you down there in Gainesville, and go up there and take care of WJ.
Yeah, I'm going to try. But we didn't get to talk about Angel. I'm really excited about her coming and being part of the team this weekend. So I'm really looking forward to that. They tested yesterday in Florida. Eddie went a 75. Drew went a 77, and Angel went a 79. So I got 3 bikes that have gone in the 70s before we start off at the Gators on Friday. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Well, we had her on the other day, and as excited as you are, I think she's even more fired up.
Yeah.
She was just vibrating with enthusiasm. So you've got a huge weekend ahead of you here, Terry. All the best, and thanks again for the donation, and we look forward to getting you back on the show soon.
Yeah, no problem, you guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Okay,
Thanks,
folks,
Terry.
stay with us. We're coming right back for more Straight Line after this.
Clean motor oil keeps your engine running at peak performance. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get 5 quarts of Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic Motor Oil for $28.95. Plus, get a $15 O'Reilly gift card and double O Rewards points. Extend the life of your vehicle with O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there. Whether you're running on dirt or running a job, our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
The area's largest motorcycle marketplace comes to life at Daytona International Speedway, March 8th through the 17th during Bike Week 2019. Stop by the World Center of Racing and take a spin on the newest rides in the free demo ride area. Stroll down Harley-Davidson Thunder Alley, check out the annual Hot Leathers Fashion Show, and visit the displays and aftermarket vendors. Marketplace admission, demo rides, and parking are free. For more information on race tickets to the Daytona TT and Daytona 200, visit DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Welcome back to MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Hey, next week right here on MRN, it's STP Week.
STP Week.
Yeah, STP Week for everybody on MRN.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And it all goes, I was going to say around, but that's almost too easy, with Martinsville. If you get it, with the cup stuff up in Martinsville, and, which is legendary with STP with Richard Petty over there.
Right.
So.
Well, Richard Petty and STP, I mean, that's like a longest probably relationship in motorsports, right? So
yeah, if you had to say in your mind the relationship in drag racing that is as similar as Petty with STP,
Forrest Castro, I guess.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is that what you would go with?
Yeah, Forrest Castro or
Snake
Kenny
and Hot
Bernstein.
Wheels?
Well,
King
Kenny
and
Bernstein and Budweiser, man. That was a
and
long one,
Budweiser.
too. That was 20-something years. So that was
Snake and Army.
Snake and Army, or that, Mongoose and Snake Hot Wheels.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the biggest first
But it
ones.
just wasn't as long.
Right.
Right? That's the thing. Whereas like Petty and STP was
Petty
like
and STP.
still going.
Man, yeah.
Still going.
Right. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
From probably the Andy Granatelli days to now. That's one heck of a relationship.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Truly is. We have another guest joining us on the line right now, and we're excited to have him with us as we get ready for the Gatornationals down in Gainesville this weekend. Let's bring in Richie Crampton. Richie, how are you today?
I'm doing great, guys. How about yourselves?
We are doing good. Are you ready to get back to action?
I am, man. It feels like it's taken forever since we got to race lost out there in Phoenix, so I'm ready to go.
Hey, Richie, last year you guys had some great success going into the Gatornationals and put that Coletta Motorsports car in the winner's circle. What are you doing this year to get it back there in the winner's circle? Your teammate, Doug Coletta, was just in the winner's circle a couple races ago at Pomona, so you guys ready to get back there again?
Yeah, of course we are, man. We've had a really good race car at Pomona and Phoenix. Just unfortunately come up a little short, which is you'll have that from time to time, I guess. But no, I'm really confident about the way our DHL Toyota Drags is running. Connie and Kurt Elliott are doing a great job with my guys, and pretty exciting to go back to Gainesville, where we were lucky enough to win last year, and hopefully we can kind of start the weekend on the front foot and race on that new track surface there and try and get a trophy on Sunday.
What do you think about that surface, Richie? Have you heard much about it? What are you expecting? How are you preparing for it?
Well, me as a driver, we hear that they've spent a lot of money on the track, and that's always a great thing when the tracks are investing in the racetrack surface for us to race on. So it's pretty exciting. The crew chiefs, I know there's some mixed opinions on what we're going to see when we get there, and of course it's probably going to be one of the warmer racetracks that we've seen, of course, so far this season, which could add some challenges. But I think one thing or another will kind of come to fruition, and it should just make for an exciting race, whether the track is super fast or tricky. No matter what, it's going to be a good one.
Hey, Richie, one of the things that I thought was pretty funny was that you were driving the Clutter dragster, and then you were working over at Morgan Lucas chassis shop building cars for other competitors during the week. Are you still doing that, or what's your day-to-day plan these days?
I am literally standing out the back of Morgan Lucas Racing as we speak. Just walked out the back to talk to you guys. But, yeah, we supply race cars to Mike Salinas, Steve Torrance, of course. Pretty excited that he was able to win a championship in one of our chassis last season. And of course, there's certain dominance with that. But we look after the Laguna brothers as well, and Scott Palmer. And there's a handful of cars out there. Jordan Vandergriff drives one of our cars as well. So it's pretty neat to have a hand in building all these race cars, but it's a unique dynamic for me to pull up to the starting line driving one of Coletta's race cars, competing against cars that I build during the week. But, can't say enough about my Coletta race cars as well. I love driving them, but, I don't know there's too many other forms of motorsport where you'll find, this kind of similar situation going on. It's pretty unique.
Richie, does that help you as a driver just have a greater understanding of the chassis since you're working on them on a daily basis?
I don't think so. Ralph, it's just kind of one of those things. I like to think that, a good race car driver should know as much as they can about the race car in general. But for me, it's just strap your helmet on and go for a ride and do your best to get to the finish line first, no matter what kind of race car you're driving or whether you know how to weld or not. But, I enjoy working on race cars, and, that's what I still do week in, week out. But, if it got to a point where I didn't do that, that would be just fine by me, and I don't think that would really affect my driving in any way either. So it's just kind of the way things have panned out, I guess.
Hey, Richie, what's it like working with Connie Coletta, the rad man, tuning that car? Obviously a legendary guy, and he's a tough critic of drivers too. I know he's come over and chewed me out before, and I never even worked for him. But what's that like working with Connie?
It's awesome, man, and I had heard all the rumors before I got hired on over there at Coletta. That Connie's his bark is worse than his bite, and he has a heart of gold. That's the best information that I ever got before I went over there. But no, it's been awesome driving for such a legend, and to win Gainesville last year, that was of course my first victory for the Coletta organization. That was huge for me to stand in the winner's circle with Connie driving his race car. That's gonna be something I'll remember for a long time. And as we've talked about, J.R. Todd, Sean Langdon, we all are very appreciative to drive for such a legend of our sport. And when he hangs up his hat, and we're all going to be very proud to say that we've been able to drive for Connie, and he looks after us, all of us, like family. So it's a great place to be, and really looking forward to trying standing in the winner's circle with him sooner or later again.
Well, how crazy were the stories? What was the one that really had you nervous?
Well, we all saw what transpired with David Grubnick when he was, he and Connie parted ways mid-race event in Las Vegas quite some time ago. So I kind of saw that with my own eyes. But I don't know. You just hear about all the stuff that Connie Coletta did with Scott Coletta and their kind of way they went about doing things at the racetrack, and whether they're arguing or this or that. Just, he's an old school guy, and, he doesn't take no shit, and it's just time to, be a big boy and drive the race car and do his job. And so that's kind of just how I entered into the whole thing. And I'm pretty proud to say that I haven't really got any good chewings from him yet, but I know it's coming.
Well, you never know. I thought it was funny. So, he's had two Australians driving his car, obviously yourself, and then David Grubnick. It's kind of funny, the Australia connection between you two guys and also Connie.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I wouldn't have ever thought there's too many reasons why Australians should end up driving for Connie, out of Ypsilanti, Michigan. There's not really a lot that connect those two places, but yeah, Connie's also had some crew guys along the way. Dave Griffiths, Dingo, we used to call him. He worked with Connie for a long time, and Grubby, of course. So, no, it's pretty neat to be part of it. And, like I said, it's just it's a pleasure to show up at the racetrack and drive Connie's race car.
I know you like restoring old cars. You working on anything right now?
No, I'm not actually. No, my kind of once-a-year thing is drag week, and right now that's not until September. So my old '57 Chevy wagon that I partnered up with Johnny Lindbergh on is just kind of sitting, waiting for me to do some work on it. But for the most part, just kind of trying to enjoy time with our young family. Our son just turned 1, and our daughter's almost 5. So there's not a ton of spare time to be messing around in the garage, and too cold out there anyhow right now in Indianapolis anyhow. So.
Richie, are you able to enjoy taking your family to any of the races these days?
Yeah, we love it. My wife is originally from Southern California, so we always try to, have the kids out at the West Coast races, and so they can see family and all that stuff. But, Stephanie's from a racing background as well, so she enjoys going to the races and she gets it. And it's pretty neat to have our kids coming to the racetrack and kind of hanging out with people like Sean Langdon's nephew and kids similar to their age. They have a kind of, extended family when they get to the NHRA drag strip. So that's something that we really enjoy, and looking forward to kind of continuing that into the future. And who knows, maybe one or both of them would like to start racing themselves at some point. So it's a pretty good family environment.
That wagon that you talked about that you utilized in Drag Week last year, boy, that thing stole a lot of headlines, a lot of stories all over the place in the media with that car. What happens to it next? Do you have a crazier plan than that one or down the road that you'd really like to do if the time and the schedule permits?
No, there's no real plan to do anything different to what we already have tried to do. That car, as you said, it's gained a lot of popularity, but that was never by design. We never planned on the coverage that car was going to end up getting. But the drag week thing is something I really enjoy. It's kind of grassroots, and if you're not afraid to get dirty and work on your stuff on the side of the road, it's kind of like the one thing a year that I always wanted to do. So both Johnny Lindbergh and myself are not able to finish this coming year's drag week once again, because we'll need to be in Reading, Pennsylvania for our national event, of course, and that is the first race of the countdown. So we're talking about just doing a few days of drag week again. It's unfortunate that we can't run all 5 days of it and try and actually win that event, but we just can't be there for the entire week. So, maybe at some point in time, I guess the only other thing we would like to achieve would be to actually contend every day of drag week and win the thing. But until then, we just kind of have fun and enjoy hanging out with those hardcore drag week guys that do it every year.
Hey, Richie, with the success that you guys are having at Morgan Lucas Racing, building the cars for Torrance that are winning championships, I mean, they're just dominated last year. Has that given any fire to Morgan and maybe to think about hopping back in and going a little bit of top fuel racing again?
I think there's definitely a glimmer down there somewhere, but, I hang out with Morgan fairly regularly still, and he's extremely busy with, gaining, more and more responsibility within Lucas Oil. That's such a big deal that he's, stepping into there that I think he's fairly preoccupied preoccupied with his young family and the oil business right now. But we all know deep down he's a racer, and I don't know. I'm 50-50 on whether I'd bet that you might see him back or you might not. I can't really put a finger on it. And as I said, I talk to him fairly frequently. But it would be good to see him back out there. Great driver, great team owner for me, of course, as well. And, the sport would be a better place if he would get back into the race car, I believe.
Well, Richie, thanks for joining us. We wish you all the best this weekend down in Gainesville in that Kalita Air DHL dragster, and hope to get you back here soon.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay, pal. Hey, we're going to come right back. We got some more stuff to chat about as MRN Straight Line continues.
Cameras, but not the click of any camera taking any picture. That's the sound of thousands of Toyota racing fans, one after another getting a shot of their car. Whether their car belongs to Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, or Matt DiBenedetto, this is the moment that captures the Camry before it goes on to write NASCAR history and accomplish the completely amazing. Clinching first place at Kentucky Speedway, sweeping Richmond, or shaking off that rookie status with a massive win at Daytona. So, if this sound reminds you of not one, but 2 championships, you're family now. 2018 was a great season for the Toyota Racing family. Better buckle up for 2019. Follow us at toyotaracing.com. Toyota, let's go places. NASCAR is a registered trademark for the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
O'Reilly.
If you do-it-yourselfers are looking for the right tool for the job, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale. You'll find a wide selection of Power Torque tools on sale now and guaranteed for life. Power Torque Tools DIY Day Sale going on now at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, everybody. We're back here at MRN with Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Doug Herbert over there, Ralph Shaheen over here. Happy that Doug was able to get into the studio this week. No airplane issues you had to worry about.
No, luckily not, yeah.
Yeah, so we're glad about that. And so now we really get the chance to do some red light, green light. And I think, for me, I've got a pretty cool green light for me.
I think really cool.
For you, it's a generic walk in the park like a ho-hum yawn, but
No.
I got an opportunity to be in a nitro-burning funny car, the custom body Dodge Challenger. There I am on the lawn at Amelia Island at the Concours this past weekend down in Amelia Island, Florida, and I got to cackle a nitro-burning funny car in I think there's about 10 cars in a cackle fest.
I'll tell you what, that is cool. I love those cackle cars, and they're, nothing sounds like a top fuel engine, the nitro, supercharged nitro engine. So I think that is really cool. Did you have a desire to like go out now and go get your nostalgia funny car license or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that's my buddy, my new best friend, Ross Howard, down on the right. He actually owns the custom body funny car. So that's the 1973 Dodge Challenger that Tom Prock drove for Phil and Fred Castronova, the brothers out of Utica, New York.
Yep.
And that car was very strong. It was a hard-running car. Won quite a few events. It was very popular in the Northeast, certainly. The body, as I learned, sat out behind the custom body shops over on Bleecker Street in Utica, New York for about 40 years.
Wow.
Was put back together, was down at the NHRA Museum in Pomona, and then Ross heard the car was up for sale. And he'd grown up in that era, loving drag racing, wanted to buy one of those cars that had some provenance to it, and he wanted a Chrysler product, and that was the perfect match.
Wow.
He had never seen the car race in its heyday. For me, it had a personal attachment because I was born in Utica, New York. My uncle Raymond was good friends with the Castronovas, and Tom Prock would travel around with them. And even though I was raised in California, he would send me T-shirts and stickers and, pictures of the car. I got to see it run in 74 at the Winter Nationals in Pomona.
Wow.
So I had this huge connection to it. here I come out onto the fairway at Amelia Island on Sunday, and I come around the corner. There it is. I had no idea.
How did you talk your way into the driver's seat of this thing?
So I go beelining for the car. Ross recognizes me as I come walking up, and he's like, "Hey, man, how you doing? You know, I know who you are." And I'm like jaws on the ground, and I start telling him about my passion for the car. And he's like, "Well, you need to sit in it." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Do you want to cackle it?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah." So then, there we went, and man, it was just super cool.
That is super cool. Yeah, that is super cool. I want to build one. I want to build a cackle car.
So that's something I think
we can do it at your concourse up here in.
Let's do it.
Up here.
I'd like to just do it in my neighborhood. In fact, what I really want to do is I think we should just build a cackle car for kids' birthdays.
Yep, that would be good.
I mean, why not?
Bounce house cackle car.
Bounce house cackle car. I mean, when I was that age, I'd have done that or a bounce house all day.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
The ferociousness again for somebody like you who's made a living out of it. It's a Sunday afternoon stroll. Fans, let me tell you, if from one of us who's never had a chance to do it like Doug, the violence of the car, and that's a 73 era car, horsepower around 3,000 compared to what they're doing today. Just when they fired it on the alcohol and you're sitting in there and your head's just rattling up against the roll cage was unbelievable. Then they flipped the switch over to the nitro, and baby, she comes alive. That is a whole nother experience.
Nothing like nitro.
Nothing like it. And having the respirator on, that was something else when they put you into that contraption.
Yeah.
And the respirator's on, the goggles come down, you got your earplugs in, and the helmet. And I've raced a lot of different things, worn a lot of different styles of driver suits. That, too, was another experience that you can't really prepare yourself for until you do it. And the only way I can try to explain it is if you can imagine what it would be like to go scuba diving for the first time and you're underwater and you're trying to breathe in what it would be in an unnatural environment to breathe in. That's what the respirator was like. And I'm sitting there.
Balaclava.
Yeah, just trying to come. Well, I mean, I've worn other balaclavas before, but not with the respirator,
Yeah.
That was
just give you some
different.
respect for the old, McEwen.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Snake days and those guys, Tom Prock hopping in that
Yep.
car back in the day. I mean, those guys, those were dangerous cars.
They sure
back in
were.
those
And then they
days,
lowered
too.
the body for me, Doug. And I, all Tom Prock had in that car was those two little slits to see if the valve covers, if
there was a
anything
header
red,
fire or whatever.
anything
Yeah.
red, push the button on the fire extinguishers, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, those guys were drivers back in those days, and the thing is most of the guys that raced back in those days not only drove the race car, they drove the car to the track, they worked on the car, climbed under the car, got sponsorship. I mean, they did everything that there was to do along with the car, right? Owner drivers. Nowadays, there's not as much of that, so a lot of respect for all those guys back of that era.
Sure,
I mean, they were everything.
And it was Phil Cashinova that drove the car first, and then Tom Prock, and then Al Segrini spent a lot of time behind the wheel of custom body cars over the years. So that's the green light. For me, that's super simple. The red light, even easier. The red light for me was they shut the thing off. I could have sat there with a 50-gallon drum hooked up to that thing and just stayed in that car all day listening to it.
I'll tell you what. Well, the good thing is those old cars don't use quite as much fuel. A modern nitro car uses about 15 gallons of fuel on a warm-up. Just when you're sitting there warming up in the pits. 15 gallons of fuel, $25, $30 a gallon for nitro. It's pretty expensive. So good thing those, the earlier, those cackle cars probably used a couple gallons, I would guess, warming them up, hitting the throttle a couple times. So that 55-gallon drum goes a whole lot longer way,
doesn't it?
But that engine would be melted down by the time you went through a 55-gallon drum. So.
If you could build any car that you would want as a cackle car, I mean, obviously there's some that are very obvious, like the Snake Mongoose car.
Yeah,
which one would which
car.
one would you want? Outside of that, that's too easy.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the most famous early car like that. I like some of those old Hot Wheels. I love Tom McEwen. McEwen is one of those old Hot Wheels cars. I think that kind of an era of car, probably they're probably 220-inch wheelbase car, something like that, front engine. Early model 392 style Hemi in the thing. Yeah, that I think that's cool to me. I want to build one of those cars. And they're short enough that you can put them in a regular trailer, like, to drag it down the road, not like a modern 300-inch top fuel cars. They're hard to load and unload and all that stuff. Those early cars are a little bit easier.
Yeah. Well, I can't thank those guys enough for letting me get behind the wheel of that thing and sit in there while they lit it off. An experience I will
when you
never
going to
forget.
get your license now, the Nostalgia Funny car?
Man, you started a whole problem for me now. We're going to be right back.
When you purchase your parts at O'ReillyAuto.com, you can pick it up in-store when it's convenient for you. Your parts, tools, or accessories will be waiting at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup. Shop O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Bubba Wallace bringing the legendary Petty colors up the back straightaway.
Bubba Wallace here. You know, winning doesn't just happen overnight. To finish first, everything needs to come together to create the perfect combination. STP understands that. Using advanced formula, STP Ultra 5-in-1 Fuel System Cleaner every 4,000 miles destroys harmful deposits to help restore gas mileage. A winning combination to help restore peak performance in any gasoline vehicle. STP. Science, technology, performance.
NHRA drag racer Doug Herbert here to talk about safe driving. In early 2008, my two sons were killed in a car accident that was caused by speed and inexperience. After the accident, I learned that over 6,000 teenagers each year are killed in car accidents, so I formed a nonprofit organization called Brakes. Brakes stands for Be Responsible and Keep Everyone Safe. Please visit our website at putonthebrakes.org to learn more about responsible driving and what you can do to keep our roads safe.
Our final segment here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. As we get ready to go, just remember that next week is STP week here on MRN, so we're going to have some fun with that.
Gainesville this week.
Gainesville is this week, that's right.
We're close to Florida.
The 50th Amalie Motor Oil NHRA Gatornationals in Gainesville, an unfinished business.
That should be some fun.
Yeah.
It should be some fun, that's for sure. I'm excited to see what happens down there. And it's funny that last week we talked to Ed McCullough, right? And this week we talked to Terry Vance, and they both say that they don't trust Warren Johnson from getting under the hood of that car and figuring out some way to tune it up. So that was pretty funny to hear.
And I don't think it surprised any of us, did it?
Yeah, probably not.
Hey, listen, if you want to go to the races, go to NHRA.com and click on the red ticket tab in the top right corner and get yourself some tickets and go see Gainesville this weekend. Should be a lot of fun.
It should be definitely a lot of fun. Gainesville is one of those places where there's thousands of people going out there camping, hanging out. I know, during my days of racing, there was 50 guys, families from North Carolina that would travel down there and go camping just to go to Gainesville. That was like a yearly deal. So yeah. I think it's it's a place where that's the first time that the racing's on the East Coast. It's kind of the start of the camping season, right, in Florida, and they go down there and bowl their peanuts and all that stuff. So it'll be some fun. Really, if you have a chance to go to Gainesville this weekend, I don't think anybody would be disappointed.
No, it'll be a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us today here on MRN's The Straight Line, presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts. For Doug Herbert, I'm Ralph Shaheen. We'll see you soon. And thanks again, Ross Howard, for letting me get inside that custom body funny car. We'll see you next week.